All right. I don't know if they can hear us yet. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you.
All right. I think that means we're going. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Gun Gamers Productions Snowblind AAR stream. So today we're going to talk about our latest game, Snowblind, that was on February 1st at Skirmish, and was our biggest game ever that we've hosted, which is pretty awesome. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you for tuning in, guys. And we're going to go ahead and start with some introductions. I'm Eric. I'm one of the co-owners here at Gun Gamers Productions. My primary role at Snowblind was to be white cell and administrative support. And then, I don't know, how about you guys go next, COs?
I'll go first because Almeric goes first. Sorry, Kevin. Hi, everybody. I'm Rick. Wendigo 6. I was the commander of the Almeric side at Snowblind.
And I'm Kevin. I was the commander for Gogeria.
Yeah, and I'm Connor. I was the first platoon leader on Almeric, so I've been with GGP since the start. So I'm kind of just here to tap into the design experience I've kind of learned and try and discuss the grander scheme of the game from both sides as best I can.
Oh yeah. So first of all, yeah, this was our biggest Gun Gamers Productions game ever. We had 267 total registered, I believe was the final count. And on game day, I would say we had at least 250 plus. We had some no-shows. We had some people who couldn't make it last minute, some people who got sick. But yeah, it was our biggest game ever. And it was our biggest game ever at a really cool venue. I actually really like Skirmish as a venue. I think it was really cool. But it was our first time running Skirmish where we had access to all of it. And that meant we kind of started out in the northern half. COs, do you guys want to talk about how you kind of started the day?
Yeah. So Kevin and I actually had the idea. We wanted to fight up north more than, in the south, because I feel like very few airsofters actually get to see the north side of Skirmish during the day. I can only think of one op that's ever happened. So yeah, that's how this whole thing began. So, on game day, Almeric tried to, hurry up to step on time so Goji wouldn't beat us there, and then we'd be fighting up the road. We got in, dug in, started looking for stuff, those cool props that you set out, and then took a little bit because I didn't know what the heck Kevin was doing. I'm looking at my watch thinking, where are the Gojis? Where are the Gojis? And then they just pop up like weeds.
Yeah, we snuck in there, surrounded you.
And that was one hell of a fight.
You just popped off from there, yeah. It's definitely a cool one. We started off at the helicopter down there. We had our paramarines drop us in, and then we worked our way in. We snuck around, snaked in, sent a platoon around one side with our recon element, and yeah, just had a good old battle up there.
Yeah, actually, shout out to the 19th Paramarines. You guys are going to be in the full fat version of the event summary that's on the website because I didn't have room for everything in the social media version. So I had to cut a few things, but yeah, that was it was really cool seeing you guys start off the day, and then it just became a meat grinder in the north for a long time.
Yeah.
I found out Kevin's just as stubborn as I am when it comes to giving ground. We don't want to do it.
No, I'm not giving anything up. No. Stay out of my territory.
Stay out of my territory.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a lot of good land to fight over up there. And it's tough to really push one group out of a good heavy set of structures.
It really is. It's a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. We tried sending all sorts of coordinated attacks at you, but that town is just hard to take.
Yeah.
And I think once you commit to doing company action like this, it can be really hard to disengage from it, which is I think why we got stuck up there.
Yeah.
Kind of this meat grinder for so long, right?
Yep.
Say Goji or Elmer tries to pull a platoon out. Okay, great. Now it's like a 2-on-3 platoon thing, and it's gonna turn south pretty fast. So once you engage in that strength, it's really hard to to disengage. Compare that again with the fact that it's super key terrain. It's stuff that we want to be in. It's stuff we want to control. Compare that again with cold weather and people want to be in buildings and stuff. So it just made leaving this fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was tough.
Yeah, shout out the ice. I think that had the highest KD of the day by far.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Nice.
It was really cool though. Very atmospheric infill when we had the snow coming down.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah,
we had the
3 years and it finally snowed. Finally.
Right?
Yeah.
This is our third winter game we've had, and this is the first time we actually had. So all we had to do was not host at Zulu, which I love Zulu as a facility, but like I finally Skirmish gave us snow.
Thank you, Pennsylvania.
So we obviously the day started off with a lot of fighting over the main areas up in the North Town, and we'll talk about some of how that happened and some of why that happened, but that was kind of the whole first half of the day was just an absolute meat grinder trying to take those structures. And then after that, we wound up actually having to we kind of took an accountability break a little bit and just tried to get like, okay, who's still here and who's like who's ready to move. And that was something I think that we had a little bit of trouble with. And I actually want to address one quick thing. We're not really in the feedback section right now, but I do want to address something. The reason we had to get accountability of everybody before we moved all the companies is because if we hadn't, how many people do you think would have been lost and been like, where's my respawn? Where's my squad? Where's my group? And everyone's all the way on the other side of the field in the dark. And now you've got someone alone wandering around in
with
the
all
dark.
The snow and ice too.
Yeah, and especially ice. Yeah.
Especially if someone didn't know skirmish and didn't know how to get back. Bad news. Not worth it.
Yeah. But then that was what I found really interesting was the way the second half played out, because I fully expected Kevin to chase Rick because Rick fell back into like this defensible position. And Kevin's like, nah, fuck that.
I really wanted him to. We had our Dishka pointed right on that path to get to the refinery. It's like the only real way to get there.
It was devious.
Yeah, I was so excited. I really wanted you guys to walk in there.
You had an HMG all day there. They were killing us. There's no way I was going into a bottleneck.
You guys were not getting into that spot.
Nope,
that Dishka wound up lighting up like one or two just poor Almer guys that were lost and tried to fight it back.
Kevin has a lot of fans in the chat.
Yeah.
What a name too with that super chat. Yeah, the thing that I thought was really interesting was because again, I fully expected there to be a gunfight at that refinery, and there just wasn't, which I thought was really, really interesting. Because then Kevin, you just decided to do what instead?
Yeah. So the reason was we kind of just didn't want to move a company through the woods because, you know, like you were saying with the accountability check, trying to get everyone through there. But the HMG, the way you're playing all day, I just wanted to get around you. We just kind of walked down, dropped packs. We handrailed the clotheslines that were laid out in front of us, all your traps you set, and then we just walked right into the crab district and stole some stuff from Sylventus. I mean, what?
That was a smart play, though, man. It really was. Like trying to get us out of there wouldn't have worked, but it makes sense. Just bypass us entirely and go for our next objective.
Yep, learned that a Trailblazer from you.
There you go. Nice. Yeah, good stuff, man.
Yeah, it was a good fight.
Wow, Kevin, you really do have a lot of fans.
You did good, though, put the beret back on, Kevin.
Yeah, Rick, where's yours?
Somewhere over there. Yep.
Yeah.
What he didn't tell you is that I ended up freezing it the night before.
Put it in a freezer.
Just jump up. Oh shit, the beret, and run upstairs.
We're like, we're gonna put in there for 5 minutes. We go downstairs. We're just messing with our guns for 30 minutes, and then I have an ice cube for a beret for the rest of the event.
You're welcome.
Held its shape really well.
Well, and what I thought was neat was what I loved, my favorite part of the event, to be honest. I think my favorite part is that finally, like, the Gojirian forces were like, all right, we've held out long enough. We can extract, we can leave. And to be honest, that was because at a certain point, who still wanted to play airsoft? So everyone wanted to leave.
So cold.
But you know who still wanted to play airsoft? The 10th Penal Brigade, who just got left behind in Umbral City.
Oh, man.
If they die, they're finally set free.
Nope. And that was great for me because at the end I'm like, okay, I can ignore the radio for a minute. Fuck it, I like sprinted for the Slaventus building, jumped in a window and shot somebody. It was great. I was like, finally, screw the radio, and I go.
This was one of our buddies' first time, and he was just telling us, he was like, yeah, I was just up there, my gun wasn't doing well all day, but I had a handful of grenades. I was just chucking them at everybody.
Yeah, man.
Hey, somebody likes me too. Yeah.
The attack on the Crab District was like my favorite part of the entire game. Like,
Yeah.
It was awesome. I mean, we moved on the district in like company strength. Each platoon was like attacking a different side, but we were so attrited by that point that like we kind of had a really sort of a weak skirmish line surrounding it. My lovely first platoon, you guys were great. We made some headway and we got into like the farthest south 2 buildings first. And then once we made that decision, it was like, okay, we've got some buildings. Just bring the entire company to me.
Yep.
And just fucking wreck and ball through it. So doing that with, like moving through these buildings supported by the 50 cal fire. And it was awesome. Magical. So that was my favorite part for sure. I loved
that was fun.
Right. I didn't realize it was just the Penal Brigade. I guess they fought hard enough that, you know.
We had our Paramarines there for a bit. We had a recon element, but 10th Penal Brigade, man, they put up a good fight for some really cool players there.
I think it was one of your Paramarine guys that actually killed me. So I was telling my guys to start rezzing people, but right as I said, make sure you're not rezzing the enemy, I got shot.
Damn.
Right when they rezzed the enemy. And we had a good laugh about it after. He's like, you just said it too, man. I'm like, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like assaulting a position like that at night can be really hard. So it takes like some really motivating leadership. It takes a lot of yelling, a lot of aggressive pushing. Even when you've got night vision, right? It's still so difficult. So, but I think we pulled off a really cool, well-coordinated white light assault on that. And it was magical. It was so much fun.
Yeah. So, Kevin, I don't think you knew this. We were actually planning a company-sized Battle Drill 1 Alpha on the Crab District. But what we didn't take into account was the attrition rate at that point. But we had a really solid plan that would have been a lot of fun.
We just didn't have enough people to pull it off.
No.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't going to end well for you when our totally not Russian advisors were telling me they were calling an Alamo out there. And they always bring a used car with a pyro with them. So,
well, and that was one of the things I thought was really cool at this game. Also, by the way, size of the donations and super chats coming in is crazy, especially the name with the emojis. But yeah, the number of LARP units that came out to this game, like I'm just gonna say real quick. When I initially made like the factions for these games, it was kind of just a thing to kind of loosely inform the vibe and like the idea of what things were going to be and like have a rationale for green versus tan. And the LARP units have taken off in a way that I really didn't expect. And we had, I'm going to see if I can remember all of them off the top of my head. I think on Goji, we had the Penal Brigade, we had the Paramarines, we had 3rd and 4th GSOD. We had the the Russian advisors. We had oh my god, we had
the OISOG were there.
Yeah. Yep. Who else did we have? Am I missing anyone on Goji?
We had one from the 732nd GMTG.
Yes. Yes, that was another one.
I think we had all of them.
And then on Almirk we had let's see, we had the was it like Fighters of Skjold, or what was Eric Lee's thing where it was like they were off-duty STG guys who just went on a hunting trip?
Yeah, the hunting club.
Yeah, so we had like the 6th and 10th STG, I think, were repping. The Home Guard was repping. There were some opposing Russian advisors. The ASOC Hunting Club. That's what it was. Thank you, Sheriff.
Yeah, dude, the buy-in and the role play at this one was like off the charts.
Yeah.
I think definitely a record number of LARP groups showing up. And I think the really special thing about that is that like it didn't seem like it was all just onesies and twosies doing the little groups. Like every group I saw, SOG and Penal Brigade, my beloved Home Guard, all of it was like squad plus, which is like awesome.
Yeah.
And
And one of my favorite parts on the radio, when people were calling in what they saw, they were calling in the LARP units because we had put that out on the op board, which was awesome. I kept hearing, "Oh, we see the commissar." I'm like, "Oh, it's 10th Penal Brigade. I don't care about that."
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
the park
we see-
rangers.
wait,
I almost forgot. How could I forget the park rangers?
the
the
Park
Rangers were great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was awesome because, like, it mattered less as the game went on and we got into like company actions. But in the beginning, when we were still trying to like fix the enemy and stuff, I mean, I got my players to like pass me up accurate salute reports. It's awesome, to try and ID the enemy LARP units out there. So it's like, okay, I've got 4th GSOD to my northwest. I've got Paramarines to my south. What do I need to orient to fight more? Because it's cool because they all fight differently, knowing they all have different capabilities and ways they like to fight and stuff. So
I actually designed our op board and plan around the LARP units because they were coming out in such a good turnout for each event.
Yeah,
They all have their individual ways that they wanted to play, and they played really well into it.
And it was really cool to play against it, I thought.
Yeah.
And one of the other things I really liked was the use of different tools at this game too. Like we had the LARP units, but we also had someone mentioned already in the chat that they had the bot. Some people brought out the boss unit, and the boss units. I gotta tell you, I'm a fan. I think they're neat.
They're cool.
Yeah, there was one of the bosses in my platoon, and I didn't know it was there until I started hearing it, and it was awesome. It freaked me out.
Yeah, the boss units are really cool. I like that it gives players kind of a blank fire option that we don't have to trust them with blank fire for.
Right.
Yeah, I like being able to do blank fire checks like way before check-in opens and not try to do everything for players. But having the boss unit, I thought that was really, really cool. And then the HMG came out, and I would say this was really our debut of the HMG at this game.
Yeah, it was very intimidating because anytime we saw that, it became a priority right away. We had we had 2 very good grenadiers in our 3rd platoon, and focus fire every time. Get an LMG to give them cover and just start lobbing grenades at you.
Nice. Yeah, there was a time one of your grenadiers took it out, and then I guess I went back into like army mode, and my first thought was get the gun up now, and just ran up to it, just started hammering on it. I was like, how do you shoot this thing? Fuck, figure it out. And then just started shooting it. That thing was cool.
That thing sounded really good too.
Oh yeah.
What I thought was really neat in talking about this event, a little bit more of the feedback, but because this was like really the first debut of a proper HMG, I really liked that the HMG felt very powerful for the guys using it, but it doesn't sound like it felt overpowered at all for the guys facing it.
Yeah, no. For us facing it, to me, it felt like just handling a vehicle on the field. It was just another different logistical battle that we have to play. It's like if there's a drone up above, or if there's Connor with his Ford Ranger rolling down us with Nate, we just got to handle a little differently and just adjust.
Yeah, and I think it did create some of those cool moments where, when you got to kill it, it felt awesome. Like that I think is really cool. And I agree with one of the pieces of feedback in here too, that not having the stupid high rate of fire.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing is throwing rocks. It's shooting 4s at 2.8 joules. You can't let that have a stupid high MG rate of fire. I think the ROF limit is perfect. Yeah, and Explosive Enterprise is actually who brought it out, and they just seem to be having the most fun of anybody on the field.
For sure.
Yeah.
Building a gun that has 2 reference pictures of it ever.
That's what's great about stuff like this, and with the trucks too, is that it's a cool, powerful asset, but I think it's satisfying for everyone. It's satisfying to be shot at by it because it's cool and scary, right? And of course, it's so satisfying to kill it. Same thing with the trucks, right? Yeah. It's just cool to have it there, regardless of what team you're on. That's what I appreciate a lot about the way the rules are built for these things.
It's something you can't use at any other event. There's no other event that allows you to get that creative with a gun platform.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it kind of becomes a soft objective. Like it almost aids the game design when you have an asset like that.
Yeah.
It's another chess piece out there that we get to use.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. We are about 20 minutes in, and I think we're at a good point where we're going to start transitioning into more of like the feedback, some of the things we're going to do more of, some of the things we're going to do differently. But before we do that, we have a giveaway. And the first giveaway we're going to do is for the super swag bag, as I'm calling it. So I've got here just a big gallon Ziploc baggie. It is a jumbo Goji patch, a jumbo Almeric patch, subdued for both sides, stickers for both sides, a Gun Gamers sticker, one of the limited edition metal stickers. We have very few of these left. There might even, one of the metal stickers, and one of each of our Odin adapters. So the universal gas blowback and the universal AEG Odin adapter. So this is the super swag bag. This is going to be the first thing we're giving away. And let me pull up the wheel of names here and share my screen. Share screen, wheel of names.
For the patches, lots.
So everybody here, if you were on our master roster or our ticket transfer list, you are on the wheel of names. So we're going to go ahead and click to spin. Who we got? Alexander Dubovici, you have won the super swag bag. And I'm just going to take a photo so I know who won. And I have your shipping address. So if you try not to claim your prize, it's too bad. You can't escape it. Unless you're in the chat and for some reason you want us to respin. But yeah, that is going to be the first winner of the first giveaway.
Congrats.
So I'm going to go ahead and remove that name. And we are good to go. Nice. So let's talk now about some of the feedback we received, some of the things we want to do more of, some of the things we want to do differently, and and to me, like also some of the things that I think wound up rearing their head that we didn't really expect to. But first of all, I think this was kind of a torture test of some of our systems, of some of our capabilities, of some of the ways we ran the facility, because this was our first big game this size. Like our biggest game prior was 190 players, and this was 250 plus. So by a solid 30% of 190, just about by a solid 30%, this was our biggest game ever, which I think is really, really cool. But that absolutely, I think, played a role in like torture testing some of our systems and seeing like where some of our failure points were and some of the things that we want to do differently as we continue running at this size. One of the first things that I want to do differently is I want to actually, I want to try to think of how I share this, but I want to change up the spawn system very, very slightly. One of the things that I think led to kind of the meat grinder of the whole first half of the day is the fact that it was so hard to knock out enemy positions, right? And I think a big part of that was the fact that every platoon had a respawn, but even still, we wound up just meat grinding against death balls. And I think spreading out the objectives more, spreading out the factions more, and then spending a little bit more time on the opening is going to really, really help. One of the players actually put in the Discord, why do I have a feeling like all these things? And I'm reading it. I'm like, shit, who's showing in the staff chat?
I think the biggest takeaway from this, from my perspective at least, is the pacing. And I think the biggest way to do that is starting the teams further away. So, like for this game, both companies engaged with each other in full company strength pretty much right out the gate. And it stayed that way most of the game. If you guys have been to
didn't expect that to happen.
No. But at most GGPs, this is typically the case if you've been to a bunch of them. But company on company violence is like, it's really fun, it's exciting, and it's cool to see such big maneuvers happen. But once you hit that like peak of violence, it's really, really difficult to come back down, right? Yeah. So company action kind of begets company action from the enemy in a lot of ways. So something we've talked about a bunch as GGP moving forward is like really committing to starting factions kind of on opposite ends of the facility. The way things are now, as it should be, insertion routes are like totally up to the company commanders, which I think is awesome. But I think having a real commitment to like starting things much further away will just provide more of like a natural take up in action. So it's going to allow for like more natural patrolling to find and fix the enemy to, before really stuff pops off to a huge scale. It'll allow for like, time to gauge unit cohesion. Platoon leaders can teach skills, brief down the commander's intent in the field. You can do all these things before hell breaks loose into extreme BB violence for the rest of the day. And like extreme violence can be cool. To be super clear on that, anybody that remembers Trailblazer might remember the giant, platoon-sized ambush we did right at
where you set an ambush right in my insertion point.
Well, I say that as the guy that planned that. I really think that slow-paced team, squad-sized patrolling, and a more natural take-up of building tensions and stuff, I think is cooler.
Yeah, and I think a takeaway for me as a commander, on that same vein, I play very aggressively. And I just like BB violence, and I think I need to temper that myself a little bit. Maybe less stomp on my enemy's throat, so to speak, in the beginning at least. So
I think the reason we got stuck up there, it's fun, right? Like it's still really fun. It's violent, fun, crazy airsoft with tons of people in a really awesome location. But I mean, like we said, once you hit that peak, it's kind of impossible to come down when you're doing company on company fighting. So, I mean, like we said, like if one of the teams decides to start disengaging and the other catches wind of it, you're just going to collapse it, right? So,
like you were saying earlier, it's really like a numbers advantage when we were up there too, especially with the size of the event that we had.
And Albert was only able to disengage out of that because we knew the sun was going down, and we picked like a really careful route. Building so you wouldn't see us disengage. So
way out of the way.
You weren't going to get our company out of that. That was your only choice.
That's the problem too. It's like, how are we going to get past you in a way that makes sense? Like, unless we go way north and around, which is what we ended up doing.
That was actually in our op board and our brief. That was our worst possible plan, was to have you guys stuck in that town. So we knew how hard it was going to be to get you out of there. So that's why we positioned ourselves there. Because
I think that spot. I think that stuff's really fun, and I love, I love the big actions. But definitely, like we said, we're going to try and do a commitment in the future to avoid that level of fighting right out the gate. Which
and one of the things, one of the things I think is that I actually didn't expect for that to be that much of a meat grinder off the start, because the north end of skirmish is really big. And I think we thought, again, bearing in mind this is the first time we ran the facility this way, I think we thought, the north end is so big, there's still going to be opportunity for this. But I think starting immediately off the rip so soon after check-in ends, I think is a little bit of it winds up being that one side, the side that emplaces the fastest, takes all the territory, and then it just becomes an immediate attack and defend. And that the north end of skirmish is big, but the actual key terrain isn't that spread out. So then it kind of just becomes that you're stuck fighting company on company because all of the positions are so close together. So that was I think that was kind of a mistake on the game plan a little bit, because we thought, again, we'd have plenty of room, and we just didn't. And that was, hey, you know what? That happens. But the other thing that I think really contributed to it too is we kind of just kept feeding you guys supplies, and that made it where there was no real reason to abandon a position. Right. So another one of the things that we're looking at doing is actually doing supply-based phases, and that's going to be a tool we keep in our back pocket. Where in the future, I want to flush both sides with supplies and make it part of the platoon leadership's job to manage supplies throughout a phase. And part of that's going to include medic water. So we want to use medic water as a respawn system more and not give every platoon a respawn beacon. So then it's actually going to allow you, not really allow, it's going to incentivize you to conduct longer patrols supported by medic water, rather than just setting up a respawn beacon and sitting in a position and it just becomes a meat grinder. And have, like, depending on the size of the event and the venue, maybe 1 or 2 respawn beacons per side, plus capturable respawn beacons out in the field that can then be an item that's fought over. So that'll create more of a resource that can actually be captured and used. That'll create more opportunity for longer patrols supported by an in-game resource. And it's going to enable more medical play, because we've had people ask about playing medic, and even without altering the rule set, just giving more medic water into the field allows you to make the call of, do we appoint a squad medic? Do we cross-load medic water so everyone has an IV bottle, and then you can kind of use it from there? Do we appoint a platoon medic and create a CCP? I think that's going to enable a lot more gameplay options, and it's going to make it where it's a little bit easier to roll positions depending on how things go.
Yeah, I really like the idea of adding the medic role into the game. I feel like that's something that players would really enjoy, taking on some responsibility and impacting the game in a cool, interesting
I agree.
way like that.
That'll be cool.
And like you're saying, it's really no change at all for us.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really neat. And then another one of the things that we're looking at changing, because I think we kind of missed an opportunity. Because again, the game ended kind of early, because I feel like there's a level of violence that you can conduct for so long before eventually, like, everyone was just tired. Like, the number of people who still wanted to play airsoft at the end of the day, I have not heard anyone complain about the fact we ended the game early, and that indicates to me that everyone was too tired.
Yeah, it was time. It was the right time.
I think we hit a pretty natural sort of conclusion point, and spinning everyone back up to do another, run back through it, I think that wouldn't have worked well.
Yeah, I don't think we could have chased Goji into that open field. And I would get it too if the players just looked at me and said no.
Like, I would just circle back on you again. We would have just gotten around behind you again.
Be there till the next morning.
Well, but what that indicates to me is that we can use some more time for a planning phase. So we actually want to give the factions more leeway, and by starting the factions further apart, I think giving the factions more time in the planning phase, we're actually going to be able to do things like a sand table, some more collaboration with player leadership as well. Because, we send out op boards, we send out emails, and all that stuff's really cool. But I think sitting down on the actual field and like looking at a map or looking at a sand table and actually collaborating there, I think that's going to be another phase of gameplay, because not all gameplay is gunplay. Planning is part of the gameplay. I think having that opportunity to really collaborate in person, and it's going to help. I think it's going to help the command build more rapport with their players.
Yeah. The biggest thing I want to do, like I said, is I want to let the team and the squad leaders get to flex their leadership more. So I want to give them opportunities to patrol. I want to let them get to learn the toolbox of battle drills and movements they can use to defeat enemy elements their size all day. As we said, Snowblind, of course, became company and company violence super fast. We just didn't have the time to do stuff as platoons or smaller.
And even 30 minutes at the start of the game, that's a lot. That's enough.
Yeah.
So our player leadership got to do stuff here, but for the most part, weren't able to do any individual small unit actions just go do a patrol, right? Or I want you to conduct a battle drill or react to contact. We didn't really get to do anything more complicated than just get online and assault through.
Right.
So
we tried
right up there with 250 players.
Yeah.
It would be awesome though, like you're saying, Eric, to have all the sand table and stuff. It'd just be a very cool way for the players to get in the commander's mindset and really try to develop their own leadership skills when they're being squad leads and team leads.
I'd love to get the player leadership and do that, and literally just go find a patch of dirt, clear it all off, and just make a sand table right there, infantry style. I would love to include the players in that.
Absolutely.
Each platoon have a chance to brief with each other, get to know each other better. It would just be a cool way for everyone.
Yeah, that slow take up, I think, would do a lot. You could send one squad up to do a light patrol, and what that lets you do is you gauge the effectiveness of those leaders, and you let them get more comfortable in their shoes before stuff starts happening.
Our Russians
are patrolling. You brief in a sand table. It'd be a great way to start the day for sure.
Our Russians really were looking for. Yeah, I was just gonna say our Russians who are our recon element, really looking for more reasons to want to pass on intelligence that they see out in the field. And send a recon element out, get some live intelligence back, update your sand table. Be able to show everybody right there and adapt.
Really cool. The biggest thing that's going to allow this is just time, which means distance. So, patrolling the contact and finding the enemy, I think is going to be a really cool big thing we start emphasizing a lot of these.
Luckily, we have some really cool AOs with a lot of big distance to cover.
Bring unfrozen dirt.
Honestly,
A lot
right.
more work.
I
this
second that.
This is actually one of the other things that I think. So we communicate a lot about preparation for the games, and we try to include all the knowledge that we think people are going to need. But people do want a packing list that's really comprehensive for the different games. So one of my projects for this year is going to be creating a standardized supplemental document for every game season and format. Because I think in the past I've created them like per event, and that's cool, but it becomes like a lot of redundant work. So what I want to do is I actually want to create a standardized supplemental doc that I can just post on the event page and just have a link of, hey, this is a winter game. Here's the winter game packing list, and have things like traction aids and have, different layering options and even links to some of that stuff I can have in there. And I think that'll really, really help.
I agree. It's a great idea. Like, I don't think a lot of people thought to bring like yak tracks or something, and that's why they were slipping. Hell, I mean, I know better, and I didn't even think about it until 2 weeks before. I'm like, oh, right. And only because we have them at my work. And I looked at them on the shelf. I'm like, I'm going to need that. So I went out and bought some. Yeah. That's a really good idea.
It was tough. That rain the night before did not help at all.
No, that definitely
can't control Mother Nature there.
Nope.
Yeah, but we can kind of alleviate the suffering a little bit. But yeah, that was a lot of the common feedback that we saw. That was a lot of the main stuff. Other major changes that we discussed. Do you guys remember anything else? Because we have a whole doc of notes that I actually don't have pulled up for some reason. But we don't want to spoil everything either.
I mean, I think we hit most of them. Honestly, I can't think of anything else that comes to mind immediately.
No, you hit everything I can think of too.
Yeah. I think that's all the main stuff. As for like, other things that we want to talk about, I mean, obviously our next game is Deadfall, and based on all the lessons we learned at Snowblind, I'm really excited for Deadfall now, because we already had like a lot of different stuff planned for Deadfall based on the lessons we learned from Trailblazer. So I'm actually really, really glad that we have like also this experience with Snowblind, where we kind of saw, like I said, it was a little bit of a torture test to some of our stuff. And I think that's going to really help to go into Deadfall and be like, all right, hey, we just ran this. We just saw these points. We want to try these things differently. And the landing is going to be really cool, like truly starting on opposite sides. I think that's really
I love that AO so much.
Me too. It's so cool.
And there's just going to be so much room for my favorite stuff to do in Airsoft is like the squad and team level patrols. Like we can, for the first probably half the day, we can be conducting patrols in super small units and letting these guys like, flex their leadership muscles. It's my favorite thing. That's gonna be so much fun.
And I think that's going to increase the rapport between like the actual leadership of players and the leadership of staff. Because one of the complaints I see a lot in AARs, and I just want to address this quick, is people complain about their squad leaders in the AARs. I don't know if people know this. The squad leaders are not GGP staff. Like, your squad leader is a player. The GGP staff is your actual like platoon leadership and above. The squad leaders are not staff. They are not being paid to be there.
You as a squad can fire him at any time. It's democratic.
You can fire your squad leader. It's fine. It's super cool. And honestly, even if you have issues with your platoon leader, because like straight up, sometimes people have issues with their platoon leader, and maybe it's not anyone's fault. Maybe it's just like a personality thing or like a way they approach the game. You can totally not fire your platoon leader, but you can switch platoons if you really need to. Like that's allowed.
As a CO, I definitely hear a player out if they came up and said, hey, I really want to switch platoons. I may ask why, but that'd be like a one-on-one thing. And if that's really what you want, man, then yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah, we're here for everybody to have fun.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. And one of the other things that I really want to do, and this is actually another really good point of feedback, is people do have a hard time identifying staff in the field. And I know why. It's because everyone's wearing gear, everyone's wearing face protection and eye protection, and they're layered up, and half of us out there just look like the abominable snowman. Like, you can't tell who anybody is. Leadership had, like, the COs had the berets, which made them super distinctive.
Yeah.
But we are going to get the actual event staff patches. We need event staff patches, and we want to get event staff patches, and we want to get squad leader patches if we can, and just get like a shitload of them so that we can hand them out. And I think that'll really, really help, where you have your leadership identified with a patch or an armband. And I think there's all kinds of different solutions you can use for that, but leadership identification is going to go on the packing list, because I am also making a standardized packing list now for our event staff for the different roles that we need people to play, because we're going to need people to be able to carry medic water and ammo and all this other stuff. So there's a lot of different things that we're doing on our back end, because we read all that feedback we collected because we want to continue to improve these games. Yeah. So armband better than patch for ID. Honestly, it probably is. My main thing is just that people wear it and it's identifiable. So maybe the armband is better. It is super flexible too, because you don't have to.
A lot of players do use armbands for IFF already.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true.
And then this is actually not a bad idea. I don't know how practical it is for GGP to provide, but if you have a LARP unit and you want to make custom like leadership patches for your LARP unit, that's approved gameplay. Do it.
100%.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
We'll do like different colored armbands, the home guards or the normal blue ones. That'd be sweet, actually. I'm all over that.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And more compliments for the hats and berets. So I don't know, maybe the hats and berets the play, huh?
That might be it.
Hey, it's pretty cool. It fits the LARP units. Everyone's been really developing them really well. It'd be pretty cool to see it. Home guard with their cool flags.
So we are at just about 40 minutes in, which means it's time for giveaway number 2. So giveaway number 2 is a little bit of a support drop from our ammo sponsor, Elite Force. If you used BBs at Snowblind, you used Elite Force BBs. And we keep going with them because they have good ammo that works in everything we've tried, and they let us have a good deal. So it's pretty awesome. We have a couple of baggies of 4s and 2 big old bottles of the 2.8 tracers, and even a couple of patches for you. So this is going to be our next raffle item or giveaway item, whatever the heck you want to call it. So we're going to go ahead and share my screen again. Present. Share screen. Boom, boom. Oh, wait, I shared the wrong screen because, I have the YouTube thing open. Hold on. Present. Share screen. That one. There we go. All right. We are spinning.
There's so many people on that.
There are so many people.
I love it.
Will Wise. Will Wise, you have won the ammo supply giveaway from Elite Force. I will email you to confirm your mailing address, but like I said, you can't escape because we have your billing address from your ticket order. So there we go. Stop the screen. All right. So we just talked about all of the main feedback stuff we want to talk about. We talked about some of the other, some of the other feedback. What's next for Gun Gamers Productions? Well, we have a few things that are next. First thing that's next is Deadfall. April 26th. It's going to be so good.
You got so much fun.
I'm excited. What are you guys doing for that one? Because last year at Trailblazer, I tried to play in like a platoon leadership role, but the way my brain works, I wound up also doing the producing and white cell role, and I don't feel like I did my best work at either role because I was trying to split my duties. So I'm sorry, guys. I had people in the parking lot at Snowblind asking me, are you going to play this one? Are you going to be able to sneak out? And I wanted to, but I didn't have more than like 20 minutes to even sit down ever. Yeah. So my brain doesn't work that way. I can't unplug. I'm stuck being a white cell, I think.
For now.
But what about you guys?
Yeah, Trailblazer was like my favorite because I love that venue. I've got it just seared into my mind. I just studied it so much before I see out there. I love that place. I'm so excited. And Eric, you did fine, but it didn't matter because Eric Fromm was your PSG.
Yeah, right. That made my job so easy.
But yeah, man, I'm pumped. I'm actually just gonna get to play that one, which is super pumped because this is gonna be my last airsoft thing for a little while, and so I'm just gonna go play it, and I'm gonna have so much fun. I'm gonna go like wear a denim shirt and sit in the Ranger and have a
hell yeah,
yeah,
hell yeah. I think I'm a PL for that. I'm fairly certain I am. I think I'm a Goji PL for that.
Against me again.
I just don't like you, Kevin.
We'll trade berets.
We'll trade berets.
That's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually really excited to run that up.
At the same airsoft game. That's crazy.
Get to run our units together, the Home Guard and the Mountaineers together for the first time there.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
We'll pull up in the fishing truck. Hey, mountain men, you guys need a ride?
They've been hiking forever.
The trucks will be fun. We're gonna outfit one of them, the classic Ranger. We're gonna put like fishing poles on it. We're gonna be like fishermen up in our little spot in the Chimerian Mountains, and then the Green Menace rolled through, and it's like, oh shit, the Gojis are taking our fishing spot. It'll be.
They're taking a fishing spot.
We were forcibly conscripted to defend the fishing spot. We're happy to do it.
I love this universe.
The only fishing spot by the highway that you're building.
Yes.
With park ranger lots watching.
We actually really want the highway to get built because the roads are terrible, and I could use a sheets near the fishing spot.
That's gonna be so good.
Bucky's coming soon.
Yeah, I couldn't be more excited. This will be my first time just like playing GGP too, and like as just a rifle, which is it's gonna be so much fun. I'm so pumped.
Nice,
man.
Yeah.
So by the way, if you are in this chat and you went to Snowblind, check your email. You may have already seen something in the Discord planning channels, but if you didn't, check your email, because if you want to run it back at Deadfall, we gave you guys a little bit of an early or an extended early bird special because we kept you a little busy while the Deadfall early bird was going. So check your email. You've got a special Snowblind discount code for Deadfall, so that'll be good for $10 off, and that's going to be good until March 1st. So I think that's gonna be pretty cool. What I really like is actually talking to people at Snowblind and hearing how many people this was their first Gun Gamers Productions game, or this was their first airsoft game. The number of people where Snowblind was their first airsoft game was crazy.
What a first one.
10th Penal Brigade again.
Yeah.
Most of them were all first timers, and they had like no drops the entire event.
Mad respect for that being your first one, for real.
Yeah. One of our friends, John Deadfall's friend, that was his first time ever playing airsoft.
No.
First experience. Terrified out of his mind, but if you can do that, you can do absolutely anything after that. I've been playing in some of the harshest conditions.
I've been playing for like, oh god, I'm gonna date myself, for like 20 years almost, and that was a tough one for me. So respect for everybody that came out for the first one.
I invited my dad out to this. This was his first time playing airsoft.
I think I ran into him
entire life, and he showed up to this and like was my greatest rifleman. It was amazing. That's what's so amazing about these games, right? Is you can show up with any expectation or none at all, and you're still going to have a really fun time. I don't think he had a fun time because like he was getting any special staff attention from me and all the other staff friends, right? But like I barely got to talk to him. He just had like a naturally like amazing time as just first time airsoft. Show up, get thrown in a squad of people you don't know, and just have a wonderful time.
Nice.
It was amazing.
You can't have a bad time when you're a squad with Josh.
Grounded all of GGP for me that like, oh yeah, this person with like no outside influence can just show up and have an incredible time. Super.
Yeah.
And get sucked into the world that we built too.
Yeah. Oh my God. He was running around. He was like screaming, slurs at the Gojis and like, oh, that was great.
Fake slurs, not real ones.
Fake slurs.
There's actually only one. It's just Goji. But
I don't know why everyone is doing this emoji. I've lost the plot, dude. People are out of their minds.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty cool.
Man.
Anyway.
But actually, this is a really good time too. Does anyone have any questions that they want to ask? This is a great time. We've got everyone in the chat. They could be about anything Gun Gamers related, lore, events, whatever. And I'm just going to say right now, one of the main questions that we have gotten a lot is when's the next role-playing game? And I'm just going to say summer. I'm just going to say that's all it is for now. We will have a formal announcement pretty soon. And there's going to be a lot of information. And it's going to be really, really good. So, yeah. Draz has a question. Will you guys ever do a multiple day event in the distant future? I am happy with the 24-hour format for right now. As far as other multiple days goes, to put it bluntly, I want to see the 24-hour get a consistent draw before I go like 40-hour, right? Like
24-hour hits a good sweet spot there.
That 24-hour game was great. Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see. Did anyone find the schizo ramblings? I don't know. And to put it bluntly, this is another little piece of
yes.
Oh, did someone find him?
Yeah, from the scorpion or whatever it was. Yeah, I got handed that. I had no idea what to do with that. I read it. I'm like, okay. Just handed it to Steve. Hey, you should really look at this, Steve.
What do you think you did really well at Snowblind, more so than previous events? I think the main thing we did really well was I think just communication with players ahead of the game. I didn't have anyone in general like not know what squad they were in. Like I think I had one person come up and ask what squad they were in. And at a 250 plus person event, having that level of pre-event communication that went well, I think in general, I mean, yeah, there's things I want to add, there's things I want to change, but in general, I think the pre-event communication was incredibly on point.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And like, even I think check-in and staging went really smoothly too. Like both teams were stepped off like on time, which was really great to see. You know, I saw every PO walking the parking lot, getting all their guys ready. And we stepped, I think Amrik actually stepped like a couple minutes early, didn't we?
We were slightly late, but really close. Like as far as like airsoft timelines go, that was really good. That was even my time in the military, we never hit our SP time. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like it was really good.
I think we did a great job at that, and the players did a good job of like knowing what to expect ahead of time and showing up and just being in the right spot, which was great.
Our whole
honestly, that's on the players more than anything.
Absolutely.
Like the pre-event
they did a great job.
Doesn't matter if people don't open their email.
Yeah, our pre-event coordination was awesome. Peeking into our the threads in our planning chats, every squad was in great communication, getting squared away. Our recon element, I've never seen a group more prepared, on time, squared away than those guys. That was a masterclass by them. It was awesome.
I also really liked the world building I did at this one. I liked having the evacuation orders.
That was cool.
I liked having the I liked having all of the notice of business closure. I want to do more of the intel items and more of that stuff. I just need to put more of that out ahead of time. It just needs to be done like the night before, which was tough because paintball was still open. Right. I didn't want to, put stuff out while paintballers are still going. But in the future, I'm just going to walk out with nods and just do it all the night before.
Yeah.
And it was 10 degrees. I think, any other night, it'd be like, oh, I can go walk outside for a few hours and plant things. But it was really cold.
Raining. 10 degrees.
What's the mission of the Paramarine Rifle Squad? I don't know. That's a question for the Paramarines. Answer in chat. Will the next roleplay game be in a Goji-controlled province?
Well, there it is.
I'm just going to feature the super chat for a little bit. Anyway, put that together as you will.
No idea what that was. It was too fast. I missed it. I don't know.
I can't read, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm colorblind. I don't know how to read.
All right. I don't see any other major event or anything questions. So the last thing we're going to do is our last giveaway. And our last giveaway is for 2 golden tickets, good for any Gun Gamers production game. And yeah, so if you win this, you get a code emailed to you, and that code is good for a free ticket. But in the past, we've always done a little bit of a poll in the chat. Do you guys want us to give them away as a pair or give them away as singles? So I'm going to give you guys 60 seconds. Type 1 if singles and 2 if pair, and we're going to see how many you get. So you have 60 seconds to cast your vote, and whichever gets the most votes, 1 for singles and 2 for a pair. 50 seconds, guys. The timer started as soon as I said it. I'm a cruel master. I'm just
Jeopardy
letting
music.
people fight over it.
It was all ones, and now it's all twos.
Someone sent an emoji that that one.
Oh,
well, that doesn't count as a vote. That doesn't count as a vote.
Kevin, I feel like there's a story behind that I'm going to ask you about later.
For the yeah. Probably.
We'll take that one offline.
You guys are wild. 10 seconds. 9, 8. Well, it's a little more than that. 5. There we go. 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. Yeah, no, well, I was going on a timer. We have a timer on the StreamYard that you guys can't see, but whatever. So, all right. Number of votes.
I don't know what it means. I just want to fit it.
I think that means 2.
I don't know. I'm not counting it as a vote.
I think it means 2.
I'm not counting it. I'm not counting it as a vote. I said 1 or 2. All right. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We had some late votes, but 19, 20. All right, 20 votes for singles. And how many votes for doubles? We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, 20 to 12. Yeah, we could have just ran a poll in the chat. Jericho, but it's too late. Whatever. We did it the stupid way.
That's how we always do it.
Yeah. So 20 to 12. We did the yeah, Dad's doing stuff the old-fashioned way. It's fine, Draz. 20 to 12. We have for giving away singles. All right, so we're giving away a pair of golden tickets. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen.
Please,
This chat is wild and I love it.
Yeah, it's great, honestly. All right, so the first ticket. Tyler McKellar, you have won a golden ticket.
Yeah.
So, yeah, your next Gun Gamers Productions ticket is going to be free with the code that we're going to email to you. And now we're going to draw one more because it was a giveaway of singles. So, what? I don't know what you're talking about. What, Tyler? You just won a free ticket.
Won the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what, nerd. Andrew Jakubik, you also just won a free ticket. So your next Gun Gamers Productions ticket is going to be free. So there you go. Those are your golden ticket winners.
Nice, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Congrats, guys.
Hell yeah, guys. And thank you to everyone who tuned in. This is super cool. This is the biggest AAR live stream we've had. We've had like 70 people watching consistently, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, Really neat. Does anyone else have anything they want to close out on before we end?
I did just get one question.
Oh, yeah.
There is a complaint. There's too many Erics.
I can't keep up with it.
It's a real problem.
All right, well, I'm going to start firing all the Erics. And actually, if your name is Eric and you try to come to the game, you're banned. No more Erics. Erics are banned. You have to change your name if you want to come.
We
No
put
more
them all
Erics.
in one penal platoon.
Yeah. Penal Brigade. Everybody's named Eric.
Echo platoon.
Will Roar asked how many boss units were there. I actually don't know.
I had one in my platoon, but I didn't see any other ones.
I think
But
it was
the one
at
in my
least
platoon
one for
was
sure.
sick. It was so cool.
Yeah, it was the kid from GMTG, I think, had a
It
boss.
was
unit.
badass. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I saw one. I heard at least one or two. I don't know. Like I said before, I was too busy. Someone pointed out earlier in the chat, but yeah, I hit 37,000 steps at Snowblind, plus all the ground I covered in the truck. So, you know, if people, I joke like White Cell sits around and smokes cigar and doesn't do anything, but that is not correct. White Cell is honestly the hardest job. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for coming to Snowblind. The overwhelming support for Gun Gamers Productions has just been incredible. Like, honestly, you guys are so great. Like, thank you so much to everyone who came. Thank you for the support. And oh my God, we got someone here from Scotland in the chat. That's awesome. That's
Nice.
so cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. One day we'll host in Scotland, mostly because I want to go to all the distilleries.
I'm so down.
I
I am so down.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything else you want to say before we close out?
I guess I could just echo you. Thank you to all the players who came out and made this fun. Like, you guys kept as high a motivation as you could have in that cold, and you know, you guys gutted it out, and I appreciate it. You guys rock. Thank you. I had fun.
Yeah.
GGP is really like a dream game format for me. I love what we can do with it. I love what you guys have all built with it. You know, the player base, it's blown up to such an amazing extent, and I'm really thankful for that. It's super cool. I'm so excited just to go get to play the game at Deadfall 2, which is going to be great.
That's
so,
an honor.
Yeah.
Hearing people say stuff like that is an honor.
Yeah. So if anybody came up behind you in the dark and told you that you have 5 seconds to get into the nearest building, that was me. It was lovely to meet you. And I will be playing on the Home Guard gang at Deadfall, and I'd love to hang out.
Yeah, seriously, thank you to all the players, especially on the Gojis. It was awesome. These the events in the universe wouldn't be anything without the players. So it's really cool how it's been growing up. Really excited for Deadfall now.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this stream. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you all for the support. And before I get all emotional and sappy on you, we're going to go ahead and call this a stream.
It's for the best.
Yeah. Once again, I've been Eric.
I've been Rick.
Yeah.
Kevin.
I still am Connor.
And we will see you all at future Gun Gamers Productions games. Thank you guys.